In April 2022, a 16-year-old girl posted a quiet note on Instagram and told the world she was done with competitive skating. No press conference. No dramatic announcement. Just a few sentences that said she had been doing this since she was 5, she was 16 now, and she was ready to move on. The reason she gave was simple. She wanted a life. A real one. With friends and road trips and late nights and all the things that had been impossible while she was being dropped off at a rink every day and told what to do. She got that life. She went to UCLA. She played Fortnite until 4 in the morning with her siblings. She climbed to the base camp of Mount Everest just because she wanted to see what it felt like. She went to bad karaoke. She got her driver's license. She took art classes and overslept and did absolutely nothing on purpose and called it the best time of her life. And then she came back to skating in 2024. On one condition. She was in charge of everything. Her music. Her costumes. Her training schedule. Nobody was going to tell her what to eat or what to wear or what programs to skate again. She had lived that life and she was not going back to it. She came back for freedom. For joy. For the actual love of moving on the ice when nobody was making her do it. She won the world title in 2025. She won 2 Olympic gold medals in 2026. She became the first American woman to win individual Olympic figure skating gold in 24 years. And she now has 5.8 million Instagram followers. Up from 200,000 1 week ago. And her coach just told reporters that they may have to close the Oakland Ice Center entirely when she trains because of the attention she has gotten. The girl who retired at 16 because she wanted a normal life is now one of the most famous athletes in the country. And she did not ask for a single bit of it. Let's look at what actually happened to her follower count because the numbers are genuinely staggering. And they tell the story of her fame explosion better than any description. On February 6, the day Team USA competed in the figure skating team event and Alysa helped them win gold, her followers were growing at around 24,000 a day. Not slow. But not unusual for an Olympic athlete during the Games. On February 9, after the team gold was confirmed, she gained 63,000 followers in a single day. By February 18, the day before the women's individual event, she had crossed 1 million followers. On February 19, she won individual gold. She screamed something unfiltered at the cameras. She sprinted across the ice to hug a Japanese athlete and lifted her off the ground. She walked into the kiss and cried and laughed at the same time. 108,000 new followers that day. 850,000 the next day. Nearly 1 million the day after that. In 4 days she went from just over 200,000 followers to more than 3 million. By the end of the week it was 5.8 million. For context, that is a 1,856% increase in 7 days. The biggest social media explosion of any athlete at the 2026 Winter Olympics. Bigger than every hockey player, every skier, every speed skater. By a margin that is not even close. The girl who spent her retirement in a dorm at UCLA and played video games until 4 in the morning now has more Instagram followers than most A-list actors. Here is what makes this genuinely complicated. Not just exciting. Complicated. Alysa Liu came back to skating because she finally had control over it. That was the whole point of the comeback. She said it explicitly. She had spent 11 years being controlled, having decisions made for her, skating in costumes she did not choose to music she did not pick and programs she did not design. The comeback was only possible because she rewrote every rule about how she was going to do it. And now 5.8 million strangers are watching everything she does. Her coach Philip DeGuglielmo, the person who knows her schedule and her state of mind better than almost anyone, put it directly when asked about her new fame. He said, "Dealing with that kind of attention is not what she wants now. She does not want to be famous. She wants to be Alysa. 6 words. She wants to be Alysa. That sentence has been shared more than almost anything else said about her this week. Because it names something real. There is a version of Alysa Liu that the world wants now. The one on the podium. The one in the sparkly dress. The one who screamed that thing into the camera and went viral. The one with the platinum streaks and the lip piercing and the smile that the whole internet could not stop talking about. That version is a public figure, and that version belongs to 5.8 million people who followed her this week. And there is Alysa Liu, who trains at the Oakland Ice Center and eats tiramisu at restaurants in Alameda and goes on road trips with her friends and argues about chickens and cows for 7 hours on hiking trails, and genuinely does not care whether she wins as long as she feels free on the ice. Those two versions are the same person. And the question everybody close to her is quietly navigating right now is whether they can stay that way. The ice rink situation is the most concrete example of how fast things have changed. The Oakland Ice Center is where her father took her when she was 5 years old because he liked Michelle Kwan. It is her home rink. The place she came back to when she returned from retirement. The place where she practices to whatever music she feels like that day, where she cleans her own skates after practice, where she shows up and decides what kind of training session she wants to have. It is also a public ice rink. Other people skate there. Families, kids learning to skate, recreational skaters. People who just want to go around in circles for an hour on a Saturday morning. And now one of those people is a 20-year-old with 5.8 million Instagram followers and 2 Olympic gold medals. Her coach said they may have to ask the rink management to close the rink entirely when she trains because of the attention she has gotten. Not a special section. Not a barrier. Close the whole rink. The place that felt like freedom is now going to require security arrangements. That is the specific tax that fame puts on exactly the parts of life that matter most to the person paying it. There is also the schedule, which, even before the fame question, is already relentless. She returned from Milan on Monday. She leaves for Prague on March 21st to defend her world title at the World Championships. That is 25 days away. Between now and then she needs to get back on the ice, work on the weaknesses her coaches identified during the Olympics, and prepare to compete again at the highest level against the same field that just watched her win gold. After Prague, she goes directly to Japan for 8 shows in 9 days on the Stars on Ice tour. Then she comes home to the United States and does 26 shows over 6 weeks on the American leg of the same tour. She won 2 Olympic gold medals. Her reward is essentially a full working schedule with a 3-week gap between now and the next major international competition. Di Guglielmo was blunt about it. No press tour right away, no nothing. Alysa is going to have some time for herself, but it will not be much. The girl who retired because she wanted to live her life is now one of the busiest people in her sport. And she genuinely seems okay with it. She told NBC after the gold that she has no plans to leave yet and that she cannot imagine not skating next year. She said she loves being an athlete and it is the coolest thing in the world. She means that. And at the same time, the version of the sport she loves is the one she controls. The one where she picks the music and sets the schedule and skates because she wants to, not because she has to. Keeping that version of it intact while the world now expects her to be a public figure on top of it is the challenge nobody prepared her for. There is a revealing moment from early 2026 that puts all of this in context. Before the Olympics, when she was talking about her comeback and what she had learned from the years away, she said something that her coach later repeated to reporters. She said she had come to realize that skating was not her whole identity. That she was a human being before she was an athlete. And that the only way she could come back and do this at the level she wanted to do it was to keep those two things separate. To never again let skating eat everything else. That boundary, that specific conscious decision to be a person first and an athlete second, is what made the comeback work. It is what made her the kind of skater who photographs her coaches on her phone during warm-ups and waves at strangers in the crowd and grins through a free skate like she is genuinely having the best day of her life. It is also the boundary that 5.8 million new followers are now pressing against every single day without meaning to. Here is what the people closest to her are actually saying underneath the celebration. Her coach Guglielmo said, "We have to figure out how we are going to train for Worlds. Not we are excited about the new opportunities. Not we are thrilled about her platform. We have to figure out how to train." Because the practical reality of being a globally famous athlete who trains at a public ice rink in Oakland is something that requires problem-solving right now. Guglielmo also said, "While the world sees a record-breaking star, Liu simply wants to be herself. That gap, between what the world sees and what she wants to be, is not necessarily a crisis. Plenty of athletes navigate it. But the ones who navigate it best are the ones who had a strong sense of themselves before the fame arrived. And by every account, Alysa Liu has one of the strongest senses of herself of any 20-year-old in public life. She spent 2 years finding out who she was when nobody was watching. She knows what she likes. She knows what she needs. She knows the difference between the skating that feeds her and the skating that drains her. She set boundaries with her own father about his involvement in her career and held them even when it made him cry. If anyone is equipped to handle this particular challenge, it is her. The question is not whether she has the tools. The question is whether the tools stay sharp when 5.8 million people are watching every time she picks them up. She has one more thing working in her favor that does not show up in follower counts or training schedules. She has already proven she can walk away. At 16, with the whole sport watching and everyone assuming she would be around for the next decade, she walked away. She did not ask for permission. She did not negotiate or hedge or promise a comeback someday. She posted a note on Instagram and went home. And she was fine. More than fine. She was actually happy. That is the most important thing about Alysa Liu heading into this version of her life. Not the 5.8 million followers or the Nike deal or the world title defense in Prague. It is that she knows what it feels like to choose herself over everything else. And she knows she can do it again if she has to. She told NBC, "I just feel so lucky I get to do this. I love being an athlete. It is the coolest thing in the world." She said that 1 week after winning 2 Olympic gold medals with 6 million new people watching. She means it today. She will still mean it next month and next year as long as the skating is hers and the person doing it is Alysa. Her coach said she does not want to be famous. She wants to be Alysa. Right now, somehow, she is managing to be both. That is the hardest trick in the whole story. And so far, against every odd, she is landing it clean.